Hey, my name is Brian Levering, and I've got a question for you. How would you like to be free? I mean, really free. How would you like to be free today from the drug addiction that is ravaging your life and your relationships? How would you like to break the chains of that lifelong alcohol addiction that has destroyed your family for generations? Or what about that porn addiction that grabbed a hold of you as a young man and never let you go? That same porn addiction that is now destroying your marriage and any possibility for a normal, intimate relationship. That same porn addiction that makes you feel dirty and ashamed and all alone. How would you like to be free from the uncontrollable fits of rage that have cost you everything? Maybe you feel like you're all alone in these issues. Maybe you don't understand why you can't quit drinking or drugging. Maybe you don't understand why you're so angry or why you can't control those constant triggers of lust that sends you back into that dark room that you swore you would never go back to. Trust me when I say you are not alone. What you are is a slave. Now, every human being is made up of three components: mind, body, and soul. The mind controls the body, and the soul controls the mind. In short, the soul is what controls what you think, what you feel, and what you choose. The reason you have no control over your mind, your feelings, or your actions is because you have no control over your soul. See, your soul is a slave, controlled by its master. And like any slave, it's bound and chained and forced to do the work of its master. See, this master's name is sin. And the labor you are forced to perform is known as sins. The fruit of this labor is death and destruction. Every sin you perform is designed by your master to make you weak and worthless. The longer you are enslaved, the more difficult it is to believe in the possibility of a new life or freedom. Your master, sin, has a goal to keep you enslaved so long that you forget you are even a slave. You begin to believe that your addiction to drugs and alcohol is normal. You begin to believe that the lust of the eyes and your addiction to porn and masturbation is something everyone does. You begin to believe that a life of offense and selfishness and greed and rage is just part of being human. The truth is, you are being held against your will, and you don't even know it. The truth is, you are being forced to perform these works of death and destruction. The truth is, your soul is a slave to sin, and sin is your master. But there is good news. Like any slave, you cannot free yourself. Freedom must come from an outside source, someone willing to sacrifice or pay whatever price necessary to buy you back and to buy your freedom back. Your soul is eternal, and therefore the sacrifice and ransom for your freedom must come from an eternal source. His name is Jesus. I want you to picture this. Jesus finds his way onto your plantation, the plantation where sin, your master, is holding you captive. He comes with an eternal sacrifice, an eternal payment to buy back your freedom. You are chained and bound and have been kept against your will for far too long and have been forced to perform all sorts of transgressions against him and humanity. He approaches you. I came to set you free, he says. The payment has already been made. I have the keys to the chains that bind you in my hand. If you come with me now, everything you have done up to this point will be forgiven and washed away. None of what you have done while you were in captive will be held against you. Not only will you be forgiven, you will never be a slave to sin again. These works of death and destruction that keep me separated from you will be nothing but a memory. Your master, sin, will never be able to hurt you again. He will have no power over you for the rest of your days. This payment for your freedom is eternal and everlasting. And then he looks into your eyes and he asks you this question: do you want to be free? But before you answer, I want you to know this. I want you to know this offer of freedom will cost you nothing, but there is something you must understand fully and agree to first. If you take my hand and leave this plantation today, you will no longer be a slave to sin, but you will have a new master. His name is righteousness. Your new master, righteousness, will lead you into the works of holiness. Instead of death and destruction, the fruits of this labor will produce love and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and self-control. You will have control for the first time in your life over what you think, over what you feel, and over what you choose. I have come to set you free, so you can live free from sin and live a life devoted to your new master, righteousness. But know this: if you walk away with me today, a free man, free indeed you will be. However, if you choose to return to this plantation of sin and resume your work here, you will no longer be a slave, but a willing participant in sin's plan to separate you from me. If you do this, there will be no more sacrifice or payment that can be made to buy back your freedom, because you are already free, but nevertheless separated from me and your new master, righteousness. I will always be waiting for you on the outskirts of sin's plantation, waiting for you to change your thinking and remember who it is that bought back your freedom with a price. A life of righteousness and holiness will be waiting for you when you return and when you remember who you are and where you belong. If you are watching this video today, and right now you have realized, maybe for the first time, that your soul is enslaved to sin and want to be set free today, there is good news. Jesus has already paid the price. Fall on your knees right now and proclaim that there is power in the name of Jesus to break every chain. Cry out to him that you want to be free from sin and live the rest of your days in righteousness. And he will be faithful to set you free right now. See, if you have already been saved and set free, but have been deceived to believe that you are still a sinner, bound to fail, and you find yourself now a willing participant in the life and works of your old master sin, then just change your thinking. Today, get up, focus your eyes on Jesus, and walk out of the plantation of sin and reclaim your inheritance as a son today. Jesus is calling you to live a life of freedom, power, and authority that he has already paid for. See, salvation isn't just a ticket to get you into heaven one day when you die. It's to free you from sin and separation from God for all eternity. So surrender your life, all that you are, to Him today and be transformed in an instant from a sinner into a born-again saint. If you've made that decision today, let me be the first to welcome you to the family.